All right, you talked about the big, beautiful bill. Perfect segue. This morning, President Trump will head to Capitol Hill to attend a House Republican conference meeting and urge them to unite and to pass this one big, beautiful bill.
So Peter Ducey's at the White House with more. Peter.
And something you don't usually see behind us on the North Lawn, the Beast is getting ready to take President Trump to do something that he rarely does. He's going to go to Capitol Hill with the full presidential package, the whole motorcade, the small army of Secret Service, a dozen or so aides, and he is going to lean on Republican holdouts to get them to yeses on this big, beautiful bill.
If we don't get it, that means the Democrats will have stopped us, and that means people will get a 68% tax increase, the largest in history. And if we do get it, we're going to have the largest tax decrease in history. And all my life, I've watched politicians screaming, we will cut your taxes. This is the only group where they say, we're going to raise your taxes, and they think they're going to win. There's something wrong with them.
Blue state Republicans want higher caps on state and local tax, or SALT, deductions. Speaker Johnson is saying we are continuing to work on it. It is not a final resolution yet, but I think we're getting very close. The White House is warning, meantime, that failure to pass the big, beautiful bill will be seen as a betrayal by the voting public.
The America First policies in this bill are the reason why Republicans currently have the majority in Congress right now. And that's why it's essential that every Republican in the House and the Senate unites behind President Trump and passes this popular and essential legislative package.
President Trump seems to just want to get it over with today. He is going to leave ahead of a 9 a.m. closed-door meeting on Capitol Hill as the clock ticks towards this deadline that Republicans set for themselves to get the big, beautiful bill passed by Monday. That only gives them 6 more days. Back to you.
Hey, so Peter, let's say they get this done Memorial Day or a day or two after. The Senate takes it up right away, correct? And then their goal is July 4th?
Yes. And so this is a big part of the reason why President Trump signed so many executive orders when he first came into office, because it takes, even with Republicans in the Senate and Republicans in the House, it is taking forever to get anything done legislatively. And so, yes, Memorial Day would be the goal for the House if they can get there after President Trump's visit today. And then 4th of July-ish for the Senate, and then President Trump can sign it again if they get there. They've got enough holdouts that it might be a real problem. And this is a big part of the reason why they pulled Elise Stefanik's nomination to be the UN ambassador down, because they are so slim with their majority. They need each vote, including hers.
That's why they're smushing this all together, trying to use reconciliation so they don't have to worry about that 60-vote filibuster in the Senate, right?
Correct, yes.
Right.
Thanks, Peter.
Great job.
Well, I think, of course, this process is frustrating, but they're getting all of the president's promises in one bill. So we knew that it was going to be a little complicated because you got the border, you got taxes, you got everything.
Tax on overtime.
Exactly. So a lot of things are in here. But there's one thing that's just grinding my gears. And look, it would benefit me because I have to pay New York taxes. But I don't understand how the GOP conference, you have representatives from New York that want this SALT deduction. It's not fair to the other states.
You know what their argument is?
Their argument is that
they pay
get
more to the federal government. And do you know that we're, the threshold is 400,000. Or you're not going to get anything off unless it's 400,000. They want to give a 40,000. They want to. The policy would lift the 10,000 cap, was 0, to 30,000, subjected to higher deduction for new income restrictions on taxpayers who make 400,000. So if you make 400,000 or less, you can write it off. If you don't, you're not. So that is going to allow. That was a big cut. There was a pay for in 2017. Now that's virtually gone. So what are you going to do? It's going to add to the spending. So that's what Chip Roy and others are saying, that adds to the spending. Why are we leaving so much of the new Green Deal in? So here's where the rubber hits the road. And I'm not rationalizing it, but they say in New York, you got the Wind Project. So the Wind Project is supposed to be 100,000 jobs and supposed to power for 500,000 people. Let's get rid of it because it's the new Green Deal. But a lot of Republicans in New York say, wait a second, we need that for jobs. And you have people lobbying on that.
If you're an older person, no tax on Social Security. If you work in Vegas, if you work in a restaurant, no tax on overtime or on tips. It's advantageous for a lot of Americans.
Real quickly, as I was talking about that I'm against the SALT deduction, one of the counter arguments that is also being made, to your point, Brian, is that they say that those districts are competitive for Republicans. And this is one thing that they could get that could keep that a Republican seat. So I do see both sides on it.
But the Medicaid is the thing. It's reform, not reduce. Reform to what its original mandate was for the children and the disabled. Obama expanded to the point where it's unaffordable, and the federal government's on the hook for 95% of it.
It's crazy.
That's what blew up the budget.
And on the left side of your screen, there he is, just entering the Capitol now. Let's see if he makes any remarks.
Well, it's not a question of holdouts. We have a tremendously unified party. I don't think we've ever had a party like this. There are some people that want a couple of things that maybe I don't like or that they're not going to get. But I think we're going to have tremendous... not luck. We have tremendous talent. This man has done an incredible job as Speaker. You know, we had a majority of 1. We were 1 heart attack away from losing the House, okay? Now we have 7. That's a big, because we won some elections, as you probably noticed, and we're going to win a lot of elections. Let's go ahead, another one.
Are Republicans still grandstanding in your view?
Oh, yeah, sure. You have a couple that will grandstand, but I think even the grandstanders should. Look, the alternative is a 68% tax increase. And you can blame the Democrats for that, and 1 or 2 grandstanders. We only have 1 or 2, but we have tremendous support. But you'll have a 68% tax increase, or you'll get a massive tax decrease. You'll get a tax cut, the likes of which we've never had before. This is bigger than any Ronald Reagan tax cut. It's even bigger than the tax cut that I gave, because as you know, that's being extended and increased. So this is the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. Or you'll get a 68% tax increase. And if that happens, I mean, what Republican could vote for that to happen? Because they wouldn't be a Republican much longer. They would be knocked out so fast. But we're going up to details. This is I'm a cheerleader for this party, and I'm a cheerleader for the country. Much more importantly for the country. But I'm a cheerleader for the party, and we're going to go up, and I think we're going to have a very good discussion. There are 1 or 2 points that some people feel strongly about, but maybe not so strongly.
On one of those points, do you consider some of the proposals on the table in copay and provider tax as a benefit cut? How are you viewing those?
No, we are looking at one thing. We're not doing any cutting of anything meaningful. The only thing we're cutting is waste, fraud, and abuse. With Medicaid, waste, fraud, and abuse. There's tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse. There's incompetent things put in. We have illegal aliens that are multiple killers with multiple murder records getting Medicaid. I don't think anybody minds if we cut that. The Democrats, on the other hand, are going to destroy it because they're going to leave these people on. We're cutting 3 things: waste, fraud, and abuse. We're not changing Medicaid, and we're not changing Medicare, and we're not changing Social Security. And if I wanted to do those things, I would have done it during my 4 years that we were there. You know, we're going to start this after. I was talking to Mike, and again, I'm his biggest fan. I love this guy. He's the only guy who could have walked in with a 1. Think of it. You can't be a guy like me and have a 1 majority. You have to be a guy like him, a nice person. He's very religious. He prays. He's a man of God. And so am I, but he's really to a new level, I will tell you. He is a great guy. They love him in Louisiana, and they love him that's the only kind of guy. Somebody said, oh, well, we want somebody that, if you put a certain personality in there, you would have never, look at what he got passed, what he's gotten passed. And just so you understand, he's getting this passed too. And I don't think there's anybody I could give you guys that is so tough, you guys would run if you ever looked at him. If you ever saw some of these guys, you would not ask him questions you'd be afraid to. This guy did something that I don't think there's anybody that's more well-suited to be Speaker of the House, especially in a case like this. Remember, we had a majority of 1 for 6 months, and that was a very frightening thing because the Democrats have really hurt our country. And we are going to go into very much so. Remember what I said, the auto pay. This government was illegally run for 4 years. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, should the DOJ be charging a member of Congress? Weren't sure we would get comments, but we got quite a bit right there. It's not a question of holdouts, says the president. There are some, however, within the Republican caucus that want bigger cuts in Medicaid. That seems to be a sticking point. Overall, it is a big bill, and we'll see how beautiful it is in the end. More than 1,100 pages. Your main provisions here are the extension of the tax cuts for individuals and businesses going back to 2017. There's other requirements in here for parents and older Americans, for work requirements for food assistance. There's new work requirements for Medicaid. There's no money for Planned Parenthood, something Republicans wanted. There's this new provision for $1,000 savings accounts for what's called MAGA Kids, which stands for Money Accounts for Growth and Advancement. There's funding for a mass deportation operation, which is a big deal, and I don't think a lot of people have really dived into this enough just yet. They want to hire 10,000 new ICE agents. They want to finish the border wall. All that money is appropriated in the bill that they're trying to negotiate and pass right now.
And they want a lot of spending cuts, and that is why we are here at this moment, because Speaker Johnson can only lose 3 Republicans, and right now he does not have the votes. There are 3 holdouts, and the president is hoping to change their minds this morning. He's headed over to a closed-door conference right now. Just some color from inside the room as those Republicans are waiting for his arrival. Some are texting me right now from inside that room saying that there was a lot of tension ahead of this, but there is high energy in this room, a lot of electricity, and another just texted me, nothing generates buzz like Trump in the Capitol. So they're looking forward to hearing what he has to say.
Lean on. The party leadership is starting to lean on undecided members to vote yes. Holdout. There are still a few holdouts refusing to support the bill. Ish. Let's meet around 7-ish tonight. Smush. He smushed his sandwich trying to fit it into his bag. Grinding someone's gears. It really grinds my gears when people interrupt me mid-sentence. The rubber hits the road. Campaign promises are nice, but this is where the rubber hits the road. Lobbying on. They've been lobbying on tax reform for months. Advantageous. It would be advantageous for us to close the deal now. 1 away from. He's 1 vote away from becoming the speaker. Grandstanding. Some lawmakers were clearly grandstanding for the cameras. Sticking point. Medicaid cuts remain a sticking point in negotiations. A lot of electricity. There was a lot of electricity in the room before the vote.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.